Welcome back, nieces and nephews, with GWAP, which stands for Just Everything with Auntie Pookie podcast. I'm your host, Sydney, or as many call me, Auntie Pookie. So today on this beautiful episode, we have the wonderful owner of the Delicate Butterfly Foundation and author of The Untold Secrets, which you can buy on so many platforms, and we'll make sure to put that on the link or on the information box so that we can discuss that or give her the information. So, how are you doing, Miss Ty?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I am doing pretty good, just adulting, but life is pretty good right now. You know what I'm saying? So, to kick this off, I wanted to ask you about your foundation, your nonprofit. So, tell me a little bit about that.
Delicate Butterfly Foundation is a foundation that helps special need families. So any special need that a family has, whether it's a young adult or children, in needing of clothing assistance or referrals through United Way. It's very, very small. It's just out of Jacksonville, Florida, and Georgia right now, mainly by appointment only. And also helps referrals for mental illness. So if you're struggling with depression, anxiety, we are able to give you referrals through United Way to get either no cost.
Uh-oh, you still there? Okay, there we go. Okay, I thought it cut out.
No.
Okay. That's awesome. So, what made you want to start doing the nonprofit?
My little sister was actually born early, and she has a rare special need, which isn't always seen. No, there's a lot of nonprofits that are for like bigger special needs, like autism, Down syndrome.
Right.
But my sister has cerebral palsy, spastic diplegia. So not only does she have cerebral palsy, she has seizures, and there's a lot of special needs families that the special need isn't necessarily seen. And the being able to get coverage for that, you don't necessarily see that or have the benefits to help you with that. Also, I'm a cancer survivor, and it's the same thing with that. It's a lot of bigger organizations for like breast cancer, lung cancer, heart cancer, but none for like what I had, which was uterine and cervical cancer. So just wanted to be a piece of the pie that helps families who are unseen.
That's really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That is really amazing. Yeah, and
Thank you.
once we're done here, you can send me all that info, and people could like donate and all
Yeah,
that.
people can donate through PayPal and clothes. Also, I do have a PO box that you can send clothing, non-perishables to, all sorts of things that we're able to pick up.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay,
Mhm.
perfect, perfect. I would love to donate. I work with two nonprofits myself, but they're working more towards doing better things for youth. So, and I really enjoy those as well. It's a Youth with the Future and Say the Children Network.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, nonprofits are really amazing, and I just love supporting people that want to do something to help others. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So, before we move forward, I wanted to say that your book, oh my gosh, girl, it ran me through so many emotions. I was like, I'm ready to fight some people. Like, like it, girl, like you captured like your life. And for me, when I read stuff, I can imagine everything. Like I can picture it, and it's just like, I feel like it makes it 10 times worse for me at times when I read stuff that people have been through, and it's just like, ugh, you're really sitting in that room seeing everything that the person went through. So what made you want to even tell your story?
Well, I actually had wrote the book about 10 years ago, but it was during the stage when I was still using and I was still dancing. And it was literally like a stripper's handbook. I'm not even going to hold you. It was like telling women how to get these men and how to get these men and like how to be a stripper. and I actually almost lost it. I had did a publication through a company I won't disclose just because of copyright and stuff.
We don't want to go to jail.
And and I had to go to court for it, and I had to pay for my copyright back. And at the time, I was just looking at the dollar sign, and it took a very long time for that court proceeding to go through. I actually ended up having to pay $2,700 just to get my own words back. So
Gosh.
once I got it back and reread it, I was like, God did not. This is why God took this from you. He knew you did not want this in the streets. Like,
Girl,
what?
right. He'd be all over the world, like,
Right.
Did y'all get that handbook? Dude, girl,
Yes.
So, but he like doctors, so okay. I don't know if I dance. I'm too scared, but I definitely read that book.
Yes. So I I got it back and I redid it. At that time I wasn't saved. I was still doing a lot of different things, out in the world. And once I got saved, I wasn't really sure if I was going to rewrite the book. It honestly started with therapy. And it started with the forgiveness letters in the book. And once I was able to truly forgive the main people who have caused so much pain in my life,
yeah,
it made me want to show other people, like, you can heal and you're not damaged goods. And it doesn't matter what this life throws at you. It's not how you fall, it's really how you get up. And that saying sounds so cliche, but it's so true. And so I wanted other people to know, like, life happens and it hits you hard in multiple different ways. And you can flourish from it. I'm very, very successful now. And I just want other people to know that they can live past their trauma.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. It's like we all go through things in life, whether it's like super bad or kind of bad or minuscule, but you're definitely right. You can change, even though you've been through some pretty rough stuff.
Right.
When you were writing the book, and you said you did it 10 years ago, and then you finished like recently, did it bring back like any triggers for you from all of the stuff that you've been through?
It did. The hardest part for me writing the book was reliving my addiction. That's when my world started to change, is when I became an addict and having to live in two different perspectives. So I didn't realize for a lot of my life I've lived in two separate worlds in my mind, and obviously in real life. Like, I had my drug friends and the people who knew I did certain things, and then I had like my Ivy League core friends who seen like this other Ty who would never even knew what I was doing.
Right.
So the hardest part of writing the book is realizing the moment I started loving the drug more than I started loving myself.
Yeah, and that could take you to a whole like downward spiral.
Yes, it definitely can.
Because I do know like they said they like that world better, because it's just like it takes your mind away from what
it's easier.
Easier, right? To just be like, oh, I'm good. I'm not here. I'm kind of checked out. So I completely understand where you're coming from with that. So I wanted to break down the book chapter by chapter and just ask some questions again. Like I said before, if there's any questions that you don't want to answer, because they could just bring up old crap or anything, you do not have to answer them. Because I was like, oh, I went through page to figure out like, okay, should I ask this? Should I not? But totally up to
It's totally fine.
You you want to ask questions. So I'm starting in chapter 1, just in that small time frame, you went through so much hell. Like literally my heart broke, and I was just like, oh my gosh. So my first question is, when you started to like mentally withdraw from everything that you were going through, how long do you think it took you to be present and to make change for yourself?
I don't know, honestly. Writing the book just in general was hard to put pieces together because I separated mentally
Right.
from so much different things. So I don't really know when I was okay and when I wasn't okay. It's like I almost created myself a completely different world in my mind to survive. There was a lot of different times in the book where I don't even remember my brother being there. Like, I know he lived in the household, we grew up together, but
Mm-hmm.
because of all the trauma, I had to go back after the book and ask him, like, where were you during this time? Or how come, different things? Because I literally blocked that out of my mind. So I honestly don't know. I created an alternate world for myself.
Yeah, and in the mind protects ourselves. Like there's parts of the brain that we may never use, but it's like there's parts of the brain that protects us from trauma, and it like pretty much makes it disappear. So like,
Mm-hmm.
did this really happen? Did it not?
Yeah.
And was your brother okay with like telling you things that happened around like, whatever questions you asked him, or did he kind of was like, ugh, I ain't trying to be in this?
No, he actually was very open to telling me. And has he told certain stories, certain things I remembered. But other times, I still was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But
Right.
yeah, he was, no, me and my brother are very close. So he was very, very supportive of the book and more than willing to just help me walk through the steps that I needed to during this journey.
That's wonderful. That's so good to hear. Now, so in the chapter as well, you talked about Michael, and I wanted to fight him. I did. Um, do you feel like he created like a monstrous world for you? And do you think it increased your chances of being highly sexualized like as you got older?
I don't think it caused me to be highly sexualized as I got older. I feel like it caused me to mistreat men as I got older.
Mm, right.
Um, I I don't know if he is all to blame for my chaos because my mom was also, as I learned later, functioning alcoholic.
Right.
So I can't blame everything that's happened to me on Michael or what caused it because my mom did have her place in it as well. So I think it was operational chaos between the both of them.
Right, right. Yeah, because I mean, reading about your mom and whatnot, do you think like, because I know you said in the book like she was really sick and she didn't really tell you guys the severity of it for a while. Do you think like she drank a lot to like mask what she was going through as well?
Yeah, and as I've gotten older, it makes me wonder what was her story. Like, what
Right,
caused her to drink prior to us? I only remember my mom drinking. There's very few times that I remember my mom being sober, and that was obviously something that was created before we were here. So
right,
I don't know what happened to her to even know why she had to numb. So I think it brought up more questions for me about my mom, if anything, but I think it was conjoined chaos between the both of them.
right, right. Yeah, I was like, how's my next question? Do you know any trauma she went through? But she didn't really talk much, so.
No, no. My mom was such a positive person. Like, you never knew anything was wrong unless it was behind closed doors. Everything in front value is like butterflies and rainbows. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
she never really let us know. My mom even never even spoke nothing bad about our father. So I don't know what pain she was concealing or what transpired in her life to cause her to self-medicate either.
right. Wow. Yeah, a lot of people, I feel like the most hurt people mask things with happiness because they don't want people to know what they went through, or they're just like, or they were taught, like, we don't say nothing in this family.
Right,
And I feel like
exactly.
that really tears people up because, like, reading your book, and I'm just like, we'll get to like when you're at your auntie's house and all those secrets happen. It's just like
Mm,
people don't understand how much trauma people build up in young kids to where they're older and they're like, okay, why am I doing this and all of this stuff? And then you have to go through therapy and relive all that you
mm-hmm.
trauma. And you're just like, oh my God, this happened to me at 5 years old and it still messes with me at 37 or something, So
Right, right,
it, it,
exactly.
it's just pretty sad. When you, or when Michael, he had expressed what love was to you, which is like, when I read that he made you like watch you him and your mom like, you know, making love
Mm-hmm.
stuff. One, it pissed me off. But
Mm-hmm.
um when he expressed love, which obviously wasn't true, when do you think you were able to differentiate what real love was?
I think I'm still learning that. I do know. I don't know if you read about the character Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
I think that's when I knew what a man was supposed to do to love me correctly. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and um, even to this day, it's hard to. I have so many boundaries. Sometimes I have too many boundaries,
Right.
and trying just to meet someone in the middle, because we're not perfect and things like that, and making sure that. But I think love is something that's not necessarily just emotions. Love is action too.
Okay.
And with making those mistakes, how do you know which mistakes to forgive, or what will you settle for? So I think that's a journey that I'm still on now.
Right, right. Definitely. I agree with you on that.
Mhm.
And then I didn't know, like, did Michael ever go to jail for like what he did to you?
Yes, he did. He told the courts that he actually started molesting me at age 2. He was very,
What?
very fearful. Yeah,
Oh my
he was.
gosh.
Yeah, I don't remember that. That's why it's not in the
Right.
book. I
Of
really tried
course.
to write the book truly from my perspective, not to tear anyone down, to
Right.
truly just bring out what my healing was. But yeah, he told the courts that he had started molesting me at age 2, and he was in prison for I'm not sure exactly how long he was in prison for, because eventually he got out. But I didn't really keep in contact with him.
Right.
Like after that whole situation happened, and after um Anicia and stuff was born, we lost contact. Like I didn't hear from Michael until my older sister was grown. So I mean my younger sister was grown. So I don't know exactly how long he was in prison for, any of that. I do know he was in prison with my father.
Right.
Um
And your dad
but
jacked him up. I remember reading that
yeah,
in the book.
yeah. So I don't, outside of that, I don't really know how long he was locked up for.
Did he ever apologize to you?
Yeah, he did. At the time, I still hated him.
Right.
I forgive him now. And not to take away anything that he did in my life. But I also know that he had trauma as a man,
Mm,
and not really sure what caused that for him. He also had his addiction and stuff like that. But
right.
he did apologize when he was trying to connect with my little sister, because my little sister was asking me questions about him before I was healed. And I told him that I would kill him if he hurt her. So,
Right.
and that was like our last conversation. But in that time, I wasn't in a headspace to forgive him. Like, I didn't care what he said or anything. Even when he passed away, I was still so angry. And it wasn't up until within these last 2 years that I was able to forgive him, to let go of that of my heart, and it's not for me to judge whatever God decides. I'm a believer. So
Right. Me too.
it's not for me to know why I went through that, but I know none of my pain goes unjustified. And now I'm here to work differently to help other people through the pain that God allowed me to survive. So
Right.
that's not for me to judge him. I did, and it hurt me way more. It caused more pain for me than it did help.
Right. Yeah, because it's like you're holding on to that anger, and it's
Hmm.
almost like toxic to your body because you're so angry all the time. And I mean, of course, you had every right to. Like the stuff he put you through was just terrifying. Even with that, the white boy that he let take advantage of
Yeah.
you as well. Like to me, that just broke my heart because it's just like, dang, what was going on in this man's mind for him to feel like this was okay. But like you said, he had his problems. He also had his addictions, and who knows what happened to him as a child. I think that the good part of healing for a lot of people is you may or may not know why a person did something to you, but sometimes just like kind of doing the research I've done in life with people who do kind of crazy stuff, it was done to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they, again, never talked about it. And they're like, well, I'm gonna seek revenge on other people because of what I went through, because they don't really have a safe place to talk about it. So, but I
Yeah.
definitely, give you your flowers for forgiving him. And, it took you a while, which is okay. What I'm saying? And being a believer, God obviously wants us to forgive um others as he forgave us. And he's not rushing it,
Yeah.
It's like it does take time to, detoxify from all of that pain and all that trauma. Like,
Yeah. And it's an everyday progress. I have daughters, and
right,
I'm very protective over them. So
right,
the trauma is still there. And that's what I want people to understand about forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean that you forget and that you're relieving them of what they did to you. It's truly forgiveness for yourself, to let that go, for that person not to have such a hold on you. And until you truly understand that concept, you truly will not be able to forgive. You can say, I'm over it, I'm done with it. But if you're still wanting that person hurt, you have not forgiven them, because it's not up to you to hurt them or to take vengeance or revenge or whatever it is, because it's already done. It's up to you to live your life in a most freest space that you can, without them being a center of control from you. So that's a big thing I wanted to get across in the book. Like, the forgiveness was not for them. It was really for me, because how much I held on to everything.
right. And letting someone have that much power over you, it's rough. Like, it sucks because you're like, every time you see that person or something triggers it, it's just like it makes you so angry. And then sometimes, like, if you're actually in front of that person, some people feed off of and love that when they make other people mad, they're like, oh yeah, look at them, they're still mad, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta not give them that power, because some people love that power, which sucks,
Yes.
but they definitely do. So on chapter 2, you went through your journey with dating RTD, and I love, first of all, let me tell you, girl, I love these names in this
Thank
book.
you.
I'm like, you know what? I really like how she changed these names. It definitely made the book. I was like, oh, what? Who's next? Okay, who did this? Like, it actually makes you want to read more about the person, because you're like, wait, what? So I love the names, definitely. So when you were dating RTD, and you had gotten pregnant, and then you were at your auntie's house, being in that toxic environment, did you ever feel like you had like a safe place to turn to, even if it was in your mind or something? Did you ever feel like you had a safe place?
Not at home, no. There was a counselor in high school, Julie Sturgeon, when I went to George Washington. And if she ever graces to read my book, I hope that she knows she's loved, because I did put her in there.
Right.
She she was my safe place. Like, I told that woman literally everything, and she did everything in her power, but it was just, society is so weird, and so can manipulate kids to being liars,
Oh,
or make
yeah.
kids feels like they're liars, to for things to be different. So, but yeah, she was my safe place all through high school. And yeah, that woman is amazing. So, but outside of that, it was really just my alternate reality and her.
Yeah. When did you and I'm probably jumping all around, but when did you first try like drugs? When was the first time that happened?
When I was 14.
When you were 14. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I think pretty much everybody has tried something in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Um
It started with something super small. I started with weed, which everybody smokes. I mean, it's
right,
still now.
they
You know
cut
what I
it
mean?
off
But
right
back
now.
then, it was
I
a
mean,
medicator for me.
right.
Yeah, I didn't advance to cocaine until I was 16, 17 years old. So,
Mm,
but I still use weed as a place to escape, not as a social drug.
right.
Yeah.
So when you first and I'm like trying to figure out which part happened first, but when you got pregnant first and you went to the doctor, well, you didn't know you were pregnant, and then you went to the doctor with your auntie and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how did it like make you feel when she was like just trying to keep everything a secret, and she was like, I'm, she didn't want no one to know anything. How did that just make you feel in general?
Not seen, not
Mm,
heard, not, I didn't understand. When you're 12 years old, finding out you're pregnant and you didn't even realize you were having sex,
right,
that is, I, it still plays in my memory like a movie, because when I raise my kids and I see other 12-year-olds now, to know that that was me, like, I was just lost. Like, I didn't, my whole world changed that day. So I went for a sports physical to play sports for the
right,
upcoming year in high school, and my life changed over that summer. So the biggest thing is I didn't felt seen. I felt like I had no control. Like, the adults in my life had the control over. I had no voice in anything that was going on.
right, because that's when how do you say her name? Anicia.
Yeah, Anicia.
Right. So
Mhm.
she got taken and adopted, and then there was like no contact after that for a long time.
It wasn't even spoke about.
Wow.
Literally, how I wrote it in the book is, when I went into labor, I went to the hospital. I had her. I was there for those 2 days, came home, and that was it. It was never brought up, never talked about. I don't know if family members know about it. It was like, it's something that happens every day. Like, I just went in, got a tooth pulled or something, or had a
Wow.
tooth cleaned. Like, that's how minute it was done.
And for you to be 12 years old going through that, and it's like, I know, like, obviously, like, all my sisters got kids, and it's like how they were mentally after having a baby and their hormones and postpartum. Even my best friend, she had postpartum really bad. She kind of still dealing with it, and my nieces too. So it's like, they like, did they ever, or your auntie, did she ever like get you mental help around that age when that happened, or she, like you said, it was just like, oh, whatever, it's a doctor's appointment?
It was done.
Wow.
I didn't see any therapist until I got emancipated. I didn't have any legal counseling outside of Julie Sturgeon until I was emancipated. So it was like, that was what happened. That was like, you know, people have babies every day. Is how it was reflected.
That is really, that's just crazy. I'm like, like I said, this book gave, it took me through so many emotions. Like, I was there holding your hand through this whole time, like I couldn't do nothing, like
Yeah.
it was just very intense. And then, when you got pregnant with RTD, you were a couple of years older, and your auntie knew about that one as well. And then again, you didn't have any mental help or anything after that?
Nope. When I initially told him that I was pregnant, I found out, it's not in the book, but I found out he was married and his wife was pregnant with twins.
Oh my lord.
And he already had two additional children. And it, I, I felt like he was my safe place to find
Mm-hmm.
out that he wasn't, and um, everything seemed so routine. Even the adults from the clinics to everything just seemed so routine, like it was just normal, run of the mill. This is how life happens. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I never had any other woman pull me to the side and ask me questions, or say, like, do I need help? Pamphlets for resources. My aunt carried, like, they would hand them to me. She would take them out my hands. That was it. Like, it was just like, I was the child, you were the adult, and I was supposed to listen, and that was it.
Yeah, and that, I could just see how that could be just so traumatizing, because it's like, not knowing any information. It's just like, it could have made you feel like, oh, this is just the norm. Then I could get
Mhm.
pregnant and just be like, all right, I'm done, and go about my day.
Yeah.
you know, and that's just really jacked up that, you know, you had to go through that by yourself. And afterwards, I know like RTD, that it just cracks me up that his name. But you know, you guys stopped talking after that, or did he still keep in contact with you for a while?
No, we're actually friends till this day.
Oh, okay, cool.
During that time, he didn't even know I was 14 years old. I lied
Right.
about
I
my
remember you
age.
had the book.
Like, he was terrified. Like, I'm about to go to prison. Like, I don't
Right,
know.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
like, so it was hard on him too. And during that time, we didn't talk, obviously, after I had the abortion. But years later, we came in contact with like Facebook, social media, and he apologized. Like, he took complete ownership. He's a different man today. He's married. He's a very active father in his kid's life. And I have to take ownership in what my responsibility was in that too, because
Right.
had
Right.
he known I
Right.
was 14, there's no way he would have been with me, you know?
Right.
Um, but yeah, we're actually still friends to this day. And you know, I notified everybody who I still talk to about the book, and he was just like, I'm just nervous about reading, you know, about myself through someone else's perspective. But yeah, there was no bad hard feelings. You know, he was young too. He was early 20s.
Right. 24.
Know what to do. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Well, well, that's
yeah.
good. Like that you guys still connected, and I'm proud of you for like taking accountability because some people are like, he should have known, you know. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm 32 and I look younger than these high school girls. Okay,
Yes.
like
Yes.
I'm like,
And I was just in a different mentality. Like, I had to grow up
right,
faster than what most kids do. So I knew how to operate in that world. So
yeah,
no, definitely take ownership on my part. Like, he had no idea about my age, how I lived, nothing.
right, right. Yeah, and like I said, I really value like your accountability or you accepting accountability as well. So being emancipated, I really don't like know the process, but like, what's the process to even be emancipated?
So to be legally emancipated, you basically have to deem yourself to be an adult under the age of 18. So you have to have good grades, you have to be able to hold a steady job, and at least pay about 30% of income. So your income that you intake needs to be able to provide for you, like if you were taking care of yourself, almost like a college student.
Okay,
So it's a 6 month of review of your school. You have to have another adult who signs off on that. And for me, it was my cousin Jessica and Julie Sturgeon. And the courts monitor you, meet monthly, you see where you're at, see are things doing. There's housing programs for the youth or certain apartment complexes that allow you to move in. And then after you go through the 6 months of
oh, it cut out again. There we go. Okay, I got after you go through the 6 months. I'm
yeah, so after you go through the 6 months, you basically go to the court, and they petition to either have make you a ward of the state if you're not able to sufficiently provide for yourself, or you're able to be legally emancipated.
okay. Cool, cool. That's
Hmm.
really a deep process. Wow.
Yeah, it's
Um,
pretty lengthy.
yeah, that sounds like it. So, how come your aunt didn't like want to sign off? She was just like not having it.
No, my mom was getting money from me. She got survivor benefits for Social Security from my mom.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
she got food stamps. You know, it was just another income stream for her.
Right. Wow.
So, in front of the school and judges, like, I don't know why she's acting out, and I don't know why she's doing this. And even when other kids brought certain things back up, my other cousins who lived in the house, they had lived there for years. So that's all they knew. My mom raised me. So I knew what
Right.
she was doing wasn't right.
Right.
12 years in, walking in and having cabinets locked for food and stuff, I knew that was not normal. So,
Right. Yeah. When I
um,
read that, I was like,
yeah, it was,
what kind of stuff is this? It almost made me feel like precious. Like
yeah.
it's like what?
Yeah, it was very just completely a new normal from what we had been living in. I mean, we had chaos what we were living in, but this was
Right.
a whole new level of chaos. And it was money. It was income stream. So, you know, in front of courts, like I said, she would be like, I don't know why she's acting like this. And then when she would get me back, it would be like, we were just about to get you XYZ of what you wanted. And we were just about to do this for you, but you're acting out, like just lies, you
Right.
know,
Just trying
until,
to manipulate you.
yeah. So up until the point where I told everybody, like, I don't care how many times y'all take me back, I'm leaving. So each chance I
Right.
get to walk out this door, I'm
Like,
not coming
sorry.
back. So
Like, I'm out of
we
here.
can continue to play this game, but I'm not going back there. So
Right. Like, sorry for you.
yes.
I'm collecting my own check. Um, did she ever like apologize to you after like all of the the stuff you went through with her?
No, we don't speak at all. Me and
Oh,
Tia do not talk at all.
oh, that sucks. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But hey, sometimes people, when you're a girl, you gotta let go.
Yep,
And
definitely so.
that is really it. So here, I want to talk about Eric. So you guys were together, and you were about 17 at this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then,
17.
you were hanging out with your cousin Tasha, and you guys were out. I was cracking about the comments talking about dang he cute and all this other stuff. Like you did really, you captured, like I said, so many good things in this book. You know, since you were like, mentally more mature because of all of the things that you went through, did you ever think like it was wrong of you to date older men?
No. It's like the running jokes of my friends. Any of my friends will tell you that I date senior citizens. It's so weird.
That is too
But
funny.
I think it probably was both a condition of my environment of
Right,
only knowing older men, and then also not feeling like I was connected with the boys my age or men my age now, you know.
right,
um so yeah, I think it was a combination of both. Because I had to live life so early, I didn't connect with people my age,
right,
and people older than me have went through some of the similar things I went through because they were older, you know. So
right. And it was like you said, more relatable, and it's just like, you're over there being childish, and I'm literally have the mentality of a 50-year-old right now.
right.
So
Right, I was
they,
paying my own bills, I was doing everything, you
right,
know. So
yeah, like you
there was
said, oh,
nothing that someone in high school could provide for me, so it was
right,
like I needed something more.
right. That makes perfect sense. So, when Eric found out about how old you were, because I believe that you put that in the book,
Hmm. Yeah.
still like stay with you, and he was just like, whatever.
Yeah, because by the time he found out how old I was 18, so I was legal. And
Okay,
ironically enough, we only found out because he wanted to go to a club, and I lost my fake ID, and I was like, I can't get into that club.
right,
So, um, I don't think he ever would have opted to know my age had I. I don't know when he would have found out how old I was, because how we operated, you know. So,
right,
um, yeah, I don't
right,
think it mattered to him, because by the time I was already pregnant, it was like the damage was done.
right. And then like you got pregnant with Eric, and then you found out you had cervical cancer.
Hmm.
How did, like, where was your mind like when you found both of? Did you find both of those things out together?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, wow. So yeah,
Yeah,
how were you feel? What mindset?
it was. I honestly wasn't even worried about the cancer. I was more so worried about my oldest, Kiami, because I was doing all types of stuff I didn't
Right.
have.
Uh oh. I don't know what's going on with my link here, but it keeps cutting out.